We have a lot of new agents coming in, so it'll be a mix of both. I'll go through just a few points I wanted to go over, and then we'll open it to any questions and anything after that. First thing I want to say, guys, when you come into this business, the day you're licensed, the day you join the Discord, whichever, you guys are now business owners. All of you individually are now a business owner. And what does it take to grow a business? What does that look like? We have to, walk, talk, act like a business owner. If we want to reach the success we all know is possible here. All businesses fail in their first year because of a lack of either funding or a lack of work put into that business. On the funding side, for us, that's just going to be buying the leads, the fresh leads, taking those risks. I know when I first started, I had very little money to my name. It was scary, but me personally, I've always known I wanted to do something bigger with my life. So I knew this could be that for me. I saw the vision. I saw what other people are doing here. That is the great thing about our space is there are people doing it. We have people we can see like, hey, this guy has the tangible success that I want to have someday. Right. So taking that leap to invest in those leads can be scary, but they do allow us to do things like payment plans. You got me, I'll help you out how I can. If you're serious, I try to do that for everybody here. So just do your part, fund the business. If you fund the business and put in the work, it will grow. We all see the guys like Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, right? They're worth billions of dollars now. But if you go back and look at them guys 20 years ago, they're in like a 5x5 office with their computer that's bigger than our entire bodies, putting in the work 16-hour days. Elon Musk, there's stories about him. He used to sleep in like showers, like on the floor because he was so poor and had no money. So it doesn't just happen overnight. We've all heard the saying, Rome wasn't built overnight. It takes a lot to grow a business. You just got to stay consistent, fund it, and do your part. The next thing, when we are on here every day, and I hold myself accountable, I can definitely be better too. Let's make sure we are working. This is still a job. I know it's one of the coolest, most relaxed, free jobs you can have, right? And I have to go somewhere, clock in, get, told what to do all day by your boss and when you can go to lunch. We're very free and fortunate in that way. But let's make sure we don't make that become a disadvantage to our success because it can be. Make sure we're taking advantage of that opportunity, putting in the work every day, whatever that looks like for you. I know we got guys with jobs. I think everybody here has had a job prior or currently still does. So it's not going to be pretty when you come in. I know, Dalton's one of our strongest examples. It's not going to be fun when you first start, when you have to battle two different jobs. That's not easy, but it's worth it if you do it, right? So just make sure we don't let this freedom that we have become a disadvantage or a bottleneck, something that holds us back. Okay, I think that's really important. Next thing I'll talk about, kind of talking about our work. I think we really got to make sure we're intentional. We're kind of going back to the same thing. I know we're free. It's very easy to get distracted with social media because we're on our phone all day. We can get on Instagram, get on TikTok in the click of a button and just start scrolling. Again, I'm guilty of it at times. I think we should all personally and as a team hold ourselves to higher standards. My honest opinion, if I'm being truthful with you guys, if you are not either getting several sales a day or doing 300 dials, you really didn't really get to work. Because I think everyone in here who does dial knows if you're grinding out an hour straight of dials, you can do probably 100 to 150 roughly. If you really work, that's 1 hour, right? Again, this is our job. So we're talking about 1 hour versus when you guys were in your 9 to 5 working 8 hours that you hated. So I think just holding ourselves more accountable. Obviously, if you want to be successful, you got to do that for yourself as well. I'll try to do that too for the ones that are serious. So I think going forward, really, guys, having the mindset of either I'm getting 3 sales today or I'm doing 300 plus dials. Because if you're not getting the sales, well, you need more volume to get yourself more opportunities. Or if you're getting the sales, obviously your calls are going to be less because we all know a sale can take, a good chunk of time, right? So we just can't expect to be making 20K a month, 30K a month if we're only putting in 2K effort, right? So that's my little spiel on that. Um, for the new guys coming in, because we do have a few new ones, and even guys who are dialing who are new, you're never going to feel ready, or you're probably going to be anxious, nervous. I know I was for a while. What I did honestly was I didn't really ever train with anyone. I didn't really do anything with Wes when I started. I kind of did my own thing, but I knew if I did that, it would work for me, and I made it work. So I'm open to ideas on how to work with everybody individually as long as you do make that work. So if you want to dial muted, I'm not going to get on your ass as long as you're making progress. But if you're stalling, there's no progress, you're not making money, well, we got to make changes, right? Because it just doesn't make sense. Like my job as your upline, your mentor, is to make sure you guys make money. If I'm not providing you value or doing things for you and you're not getting paid, then what are we doing here, right? If we're honest, right? You're probably it's not going to work at some point if you're not making money. But everybody should be making money. This is the easiest job in the world, in my opinion, to make a lot of money. I've never seen anything like it. Um, so yeah, new agents, the best thing you can do, the best advice I can give, and me, Marcos, Jackson, all the top guys in this agency did the exact same thing. We started day one and we just jumped straight in. We didn't hesitate. We bought the leads. We just dialed. We got on the phones. We did 300, 400, 500 plus dials a day. And we were just hungry for it. We failed. We got cussed out. We said the wrong things. We didn't know how to rebuttal this, rebuttal. But after every phone call, we either asked a bunch of questions about what we could have done better, or we were, very thoughtful to ourselves about, okay, I didn't really know what to say on this social rebuttal. I'm going to make sure next time I do. Right. And then we implemented it. That's important too. You can hear what to do, but you do got to implement it as well. There's two sides to that. So, new agents, guys, jump in, fail over and over, come to me, Sam Dalton, anybody here, ask a bunch of questions, and that is the way you will make the money the fastest. Right? We got to take risk on ourselves in life. I know me, Sam, and some of us are from the same town here, small town. Not a lot of people are doing a lot of big things there. And I think we can let our surroundings, our environments, keep us there, and we can get used to that in the normal, or we can realize, hey, I don't want to be 45 working a job I hate. I'm miserable. I'm probably not happy in my, marriage that I have. I got a beer belly. I'm poor. I'm stressing over bills, stressing. Like, none of us want that. So do our part to make sure that doesn't happen. Take those risks on yourself. And it's always the ones who take the most risk who are the most successful in life. Always. Even if you fail, maybe you take that risk and you fail. That's okay. Well, if you take one risk, you're probably going to be more willing to take another risk and another risk. And the more risk you take, it's a matter of time before it works out for you, because it will work out for you if you're hungry for it. That's most of the things I wanted to hit on. I do want to say I am looking into AI training for new agents. I do want to find new ways to help you guys. Probably ideally how it would look is prior to you guys officially dialing, you have access to this thing that you can just hit on every night. So then by the time you're officially contracted and everything, you just hit the ground running and it'll be like second nature. But it'll be good for all of us existing agents and new agents still to hit on that. Like maybe you dial all day, you do an hour at night or whatever with this AI bot facing those rebuttals you came across that day. I think it can be really helpful in those ways. So I'm looking into that. Um, of course, the site I was looking at won't accept my email, so I don't know. I emailed them to try and fix it. We'll see when that comes through. Um, I have talked to Remy about this. I just need to get it going. I want to create some sort of onboarding lead system. I think we kind of have it up and running, so to speak, right, Remy? A little bit. Yeah, it's basically ready. We just got to probably fill it with the leads now. Um, I'll need probably a lot of my agents are already dialing your help. If you have any old leads, you probably won't touch anymore. My idea is we're just going to throw all of our leads into this system. And then when I get a new agent, like we'll say Chase is coming in. Day one, he gets here. I'm going to tell him the same thing I tell everybody. Hey, I'll help you with some leads. I do strongly recommend you get a fresh pack as well. That's going to be the most high intent. But here's 30 leads, and this system will just send him 30 leads he can dial. And then Remy came up with a cool idea too, like maybe he doesn't get pickups on 20 of those, and then those 20 can be funneled back into the system for another new agent to dial. And then we just keep throwing leads in there, and we'll have this big, cloud, so to speak, of leads I can throw at new agents and existing agents. If I see someone dialing late at night, I can say like, hey, send Cyrus 20 Hawaii leads. Now Cyrus has some late night things he can dial, right? Things like that. I think that can be a cool system to have. Um, I've never been a big systems guy, but I think the right ones can be really helpful for teams. Um, so yeah, those are the two things I'm looking into for us, trying to get some new things going. I know I got ads up and running too soon. That's going to help us all grow our teams when we're ready to do that as well. But that was most of what I wanted to cover today. Does anybody have any questions? Whether existing agents, rebuttals, new agents, course, anything at all? I'm happy to answer.
What's a mistake that you made or you see new agents make that you would I'm trying to ask you, like, what's a mistake that we should try to avoid, or these new agents should try to avoid?
I think the biggest thing, guys, is just not committing to it fully. I would like to say I gave it everything I've had and I try to be a good example in that way. But if you come in and you guys are like, I got to go see my grandma for no reason today, or I got to go do this chore that I don't really have to do, or I want to go see my friends and get drunk on the weekend. It's like, are you already rich? Like I like to say it bluntly like that. Like, have you already made it? Are you already successful? I mean, I'm not even yet. I got a ways to go, right? So you got to show up every day and fully commit to this. Guys, we're talking about what's possible here. You can achieve in 1 year time what it takes you 20, 30, 40 years to achieve in any 9 to 5, any business in the world. I'm like the oldest guy. I'm the unk, right? In this business. I'm the oldest guy here. We have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds literally making 6 figures monthly. And they're doing that within a year's time, even less. Like that does not exist anywhere in the world. And it's like, sacrifice your time now, all of it. I mean, as much as you can at the least, right? Sacrifice it all now. Get super intentional about what we're trying to do here. And if you invest into that and you give it your all, I can essentially guarantee you, you will change your life and your entire family's bloodline forever. Because I just talked about a year's worth of sacrifice. Well, what if you sacrifice 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, which is still such a short amount of time to sacrifice for what you can achieve with them, right? Because if you want to be a business owner, like I have a father-in-law, a lot of you know he's very ultra successful businessman. Well, he started out door to door, probably 30 to 35 years ago. And just now, within the past 5 years, he's now really reaping all those rewards. He's worth like a couple $100 million. Insane stuff. But it took him 30 plus years to get to that point. And that's great. That's amazing. But guys, it's possible to do that here in a fraction of the time. If like it's truly that possible. So to me, knowing that and seeing people out there who have achieved that in that amount of time, like I just know I'm gonna do that. I know I'm gonna make it work. I have the mindset that I'm the best in the world. Like that's how I live my life. I'm just like that. I want to be the best and I'll do whatever it takes to be the best. And it's so neat. I know I've said it like 5 times, but it's so neat that we get to actually see the people do it and then we can just replicate that. This is the easiest job in the world. You pick up your phone, you call someone who wants life insurance, and you sell them life insurance. Like there's people out there doing much harder jobs than we ever have to do the rest of our lives, and we get paid excessively to do so. So loop that all together to put it simple. Take a risk on yourself, do the hard work, and truly sacrifice for it. No excuses. And you guys will reap the benefits more than you can even imagine. Good question, Sam. I appreciate you. Yes, sir, Remy. I love that question. Just for the record, not to brag, 58 straight days, but no one's counting. I'm just kidding. But hey, that's a great question because the why I had a why. I have a really strong why. I have some whys that I don't think I've even shared with any others that honestly, to be honest, it can make me emotional. I have some really deep whys like that. I have people who aren't here anymore that I hate. They don't get to see what I'm doing, so I do this for them. I have my wife, right? I have a wife, a whole ass wife, guys. Like I gotta provide for her, right? I gotta give her the life she wants. And I've already been so blessed that she's already retired. So 5 months into the business, I retired my wife, and she'll never work again the rest of her life. Again, to piggyback on the last question, that's 5 months I'm retiring my wife already. That doesn't exist. So I have my wife. I know we're gonna have a family someday, and I think at the end of the day, you guys just have to have a really strong why and understand something. One sale a day every day is great. You'll be a quote unquote top producer, but that's still going to limit you on what you can achieve. Don't just get complacent with one sale a day. Because if you can stack up days where you're getting 2, 3, 4 sales, that's where money starts to get like pretty crazy. And you stack up days like that, and right? So have really strong whys. If your sole focus in this business is simply money, it probably won't last. That's just temporary motivation. The money's great. It's awesome. We're all here for the same reason, to make money, right? We don't have to shy away from that, but have some other reasons to that. And that's what's keeping you on those days when you don't want to do it. Because yeah, Remy pointed out, I've sold basically every day, but I can promise you I didn't necessarily want to. I mean, I did, but I didn't, right? Like I knew I was making good money. That's nice, but I'm tired. I get tired putting in 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week. That's exhausting. But I had a bigger vision, a bigger focus, a bigger goal, and that kept me grounded to stay working every day. That's a good question. Any other questions? Anything at all? Let's find just one more. I'll just hold you guys to one more question. Can be about anything. Someone's got a question.
Based off that, kind of like a piggyback question, I guess, is like, how did you develop a strong why? Like how, like for those maybe who aren't really sure where they're headed, what their goals are, how did you develop those strong whys?
I mean, that's kind of I could go in so many different ways. I feel like to explain that. I, I mean, I could give you my blunt answer. Like the first thing that comes to my mind is like I want to be successful. Like right, like I don't want to live the life that I see everybody else living. Like guys, the average life is working a 9 to 5 you hate, making 40 to 50,000 dollars a year, not being able to pay your bills, you're stressed, you got credit card debt, and you're married to someone that you're not even happy with after 10 years. Like, it's such a miserable life, all for that to pray you retire at 65 and still stay broke into your retirement. Like, that's the reality of like 90+% of the lives in the world. So I can look at that simply and be like, that is not going to be me. Like, I'm certain of it. And I'll give you a more deeper why. I'll keep it simple but deeper. I didn't have a great dad growing up, and I had an amazing mother. Best mother in the world, right? We all say that, but my dad had a lot of issues, and I'll tell you this: by 10 years old, I had three main goals I had already set out in my life, and one of them was to never be like my dad. And then I also knew I had to be highly successful. They kind of correlated. So I never wanted to be like him because of who he was and what he did, things he said, etc. I always saw my dad borrowing money from people, and then never being able to pay it back. A lot of arguments because of that. I saw the issues and struggles money created for him. And I knew I just never wanted to be like him. So much to the fact that I'll tell you, one time I told a white lie at my mom, the whitest lie in the world. I don't even know. It could have been like the colors were, the wall was blue when it was orange. Something so stupid. And I ended up crying to her because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be like my dad. Like, that's how scared I was to be like my dad. So even at that early of an age, I knew I had to be successful someday and I'm going to do whatever it takes. Um, so that's my answer to that. That's a good question. I think Calvin, I saw you on mute. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yes,
did.
sir.
So when you first came into this business,
Yes, sir.
where did you start off having sales experience for one, and for two, how did your first call go? And then how did your first sold call go?
Yeah. So I had zero sales experience coming in, absolutely none. I guess I can say I did have good people skills, so to speak. I did work in the medical field. I've dealt with people on their worst days, as they're passing, etc. I've seen just about anything you can think of. So that experience, I can say, helped me. Um, my first few days in the business, my first 3 days, I did not sell. And again, I'm the type of guy that like that just ate me up. That tore me apart. Like I was literally laying in bed with my wife at night, and I would stare at the ceiling, just like pissed at the world. Like I wasn't talking, I didn't say anything. I was just so upset. That's just how I am. On that third day, and I encourage you all to do something similar, I had a realization to myself, especially me being in the medical background field. I was like, I literally have talked to these same exact people for the past 6, 7 years, and I can't get on a phone with them and sell them life insurance that they want. I was like, that's a stupid. I literally just like clicked in my head. I swear it was like such a click. And I was like, that is so stupid. I was like, we have all, every single one of you in here, have done something in your life that is much harder than what we do here, that maybe physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. There's something in your lives, if not a lot of things in your lives, that are a lot harder than picking up this phone, dialing a 70-year-old grandma and selling her life insurance that she inquired about. So I'm kind of going off of it, but like that's what happened for me. And that's when it clicked. And then my first phone call was on that fourth day. I definitely by no means was perfect on that call. I'm still trying to get better every day, but once I had that realization, it changed my confidence on the phone, the way I talked, how I approached everything. Because at the end of the day, you're both going to hang up the phone and you're never going to see from each other again. So why does it matter how this 20-minute conversation goes? Right? I want it to go in my favor so I can make hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So I'm going to carry that confidence to be able to do that. So that's a good question as well. I like that one. But that's how it looked for me. And I did not have any prior sales experience. No. So you, Calvin, dude, you can come in and crush it. There's no reason going from selling cars to this. Like selling cars is hard. Like you got to bully people into buying a car half the time, right? Like
Yeah, bro.
exactly. Yeah, we get rebuttals, but they know they need it still. So it's easy to beat those rebuttals if you get well rehearsed in how to beat them, right? So you can come in and be a dog, dude. If you carry that and you come in, put in the work, and just be intentional about getting better every day, you're gonna crush it. Good
Cool.
question.
I guess to kind of specify my question that I had asked was like, I guess walk us through your very first phone call, how that was for you. Like you were stuttering, didn't know what to say when they asked you questions, whole 9 yards, to then how that changed when you did end up selling something, and then how did that first sale ended up like clicking and changing things for you? Like how did the actual phone call look? Is I guess what I was asking.
Yeah, I don't have it recorded or anything, but I can tell you I was nervous. So I'm sure I was stuttering. I'm sure I was fumbling my words. She probably asked me questions and I didn't have a good answer, but I pulled something out of my ass. Like, fake it till you make it, right? That's what everybody says. And that's what you got to do for a minute. Fake it till you make it. So, yeah, I'm sure I did stutter, didn't answer questions right, but you do that a couple times. And if you're hungry enough, you'll correct them and then you'll change it into a sale. So, yeah, I don't really know how to get much deeper than that in on it because I don't exactly have it to show you, but I'm sure I messed up in about every way possible. But she wanted the life insurance, right? That's the thing. You can be terrible on the phone even and still sell life insurance because it's a need-based product. So that's the beauty of this. If somebody really wants it, they're going to buy it and you can still be terrible. So, yeah, that's how the call looked. And then my sale, I fumbled the bag, I'm sure, but she wanted the product, so I got a sale. And that built my confidence so much too, right? Seeing that first sale and getting that feeling, it's a big rush of adrenaline. It's not, we got a few guys here in sales. You've probably felt that feeling before, right? It's a good feeling. It can be addicting. And then you carry that into the next phone call.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my first car sale was some old guy. We call them lay down customers. Essentially, they just come in and they just, yep, I'm gonna buy the car, and they just lay down and that's it. But where a lot of guys make the mistake is they turn a lay down customer into a get up and walk out customer because they don't do it right. Well, I had heard about this lay down customer thing previously, and so I did not want this guy to get up to go from laying down to get up and walking out. And so I ended up doing everything that I could to keep him laying down, and it ended up working in my favor. But um, the first sale is always like the biggest, hardest hurdle to get over, and then once you get over
Yeah.
that first sale hurdle, then it's like, oh, well, this is fucking easy. Like,
Yeah.
just keep rolling.
Exactly. 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 I won't hold you guys on here forever, but any other final questions before we go? Yeah. I appreciate you all getting on, especially on a short notice. Going forward, I do think Saturdays will probably be our day that we try to do meetings every week. I do want to make sure we have one now that we are getting a good team here and staying consistent with those.